Hello and welcome to Rising Stars. I'm Vikram Oza. Now, living in urban India, surrounded by sites of concrete and general chaos, anything that gives us a respite is more than welcome. Landscaping does that, not just in our homes, but in public places. So here's an entrepreneur on Rising Stars today who has turned her passion into a lucrative business. Myna Batavia is the founder of Green Carpet, and she's joining us on the show today. Welcome, Myna.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
This is fantastic. So what you're doing right now is a space that hadn't been thought of as a business as such. And I'm not quite sure, since you started in 2002 in Bangalore, whether it's actually become that huge business. It clearly hasn't. But the scope of it is huge, because here you are servicing clients. And generally what I'm hearing is the business is B2B. So explain to us what exactly you do as Green Carpet.
You see, the concept has remained the same when I started it, and even today it's the same, which is to get a customer to experience the joy and ease of shopping under one roof. Whether you're an end user or whether you're a corporate customer, it doesn't matter. The provider doesn't matter. Shopping for the complete gardening needs.
Gardening.
You see, till the 90s and early 2000s, people didn't have access to a wide range of products, let alone shop under one roof.
Correct.
And the term garden center was familiar to people, but they associated it with the plant nursery.
Right.
And plant nurseries were aplenty those days.
Oh yes, they still are.
Yeah, so you would just go there, and what is it that you would get? You would get a plant encased either in a plastic pot or a clay pot, and at best you would transfer it into a cement pot and paint it into some color, and that's it.
Correct.
The garden decor was an alien concept. So the garden center is a much more larger platform than a regular plant nursery.
Correct.
And that's a concept that didn't exist. And so there lay an opportunity for me, to get in and...
So you were always interested in gardening, I would imagine, and that's how you kind of jumped into it. But whether or not you did that because it was a passion, and to turn a passion into a business requires a different skill set. So what were the challenges in setting up a business of this kind, considering that wasn't tried and tested?
Right. I mean, in my case, although the business model more or less would be the same as any other product selling industry, personally for me, everything was a challenge. Because in my earlier enterprise, it was in the services industry.
Yes.
And when I moved into this business, it was selling products. I had to set up verticals, and I had to also look at distribution network.
Right.
So
a dealer distribution network.
Yes.
Yes.
So these were all new
But you addressed
elements.
it by making sure that you're going to import most of these items. You decided not to go the manufacturing route.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a good call in hindsight back then?
Back then and even now, yes, manufacturing is a different call altogether, and given the vagaries of the laws or whatever in the country, it's not so easy, and you're confining yourself to just producing one or two types of products. That's about it. Whereas when you're curating, you have the entire world at your feet, and then the idea is to bring the maximum number of products and services and provide them as a basket to the customer.
Yes.
That was my objective.
Correct.
So manufacturing wouldn't have given me that opportunity.
Right. But then you went the B2B route, and your biggest clients have been some of the airports. GMR airports is what...
GVK and GMR.
Yes, both. So whether it's Mumbai, it's Bangalore, it's Delhi, Hyderabad, all of these have your products in them, products that you've imported on their behalf, and you've been the distributor for these German products.
That's right.
I would imagine that that would open up a lot more doors for the business. How has that worked? And tell us about the business model that has come to be.
See, mine was always a two-pronged approach. One was, of course, the B2B, and the other was B2C. That's a very traditional approach.
Yes.
But because we don't have an industry, for us to say that it is an industry. It's a small segment that we are addressing. So only the corporates were a little more, adept at picking up these products, using these products, than the general public.
Sure.
So that
was a good starting point.
So that was a wonderful starting point for me, and you could say I was at the right place at the right time, when I started, because that was the time when all the projects were, being set up.
Yes, but getting these projects is tough as well, right? There's a lot of red tape, there is a lot of paperwork to do. All of that can be potential challenges, and to kind of get that order finally and make your margins and revenues in the end can be a long drawn-out process, which can be quite draining when you're setting up a business.
Yeah. So lucky me. So I had a product which was extremely good, so I had a saleable product which is very critical for any business. And I had a product on which I had the monopoly.
Right.
And two, it was a product that people were excited to, use, because I showcased the product, I established the product as a brand, and I was present in all the B2B platforms, talking about it. So in the initial years itself, I made it very clear to my customers that these are the terms that I'm going to work on. So
it made it a little easier.
And
but then I also know that you're
of course, when you work on your terms and not on the customer's terms,
it always helps. But
it
then
helps to a certain extent.
Yes.
You do tend to lose a few orders, but in the long run, it helps you.
But you're going the retail route as well, and you have a 6,000 square feet store in Bangalore right now.
That's right.
Mumbai and Delhi being your primary markets, but servicing the needs of consumers directly, that requires a different skill set again. Which do you find easier, and how is it kind of balancing out the business?
Retail is very exciting for me, actually,
it?
Because it's a new market for me, it's a new arena, it's a new learning platform. And people used to come and I've always had a retail space. But what I noticed was that if you provide them a very proper, what can I say, display area,
correct,
then it is easier for people to come and, pick
But there's a lot of education, a lot of marketing that would be required as well. I'm just wondering, as far as funding is concerned, you've put in all your money so far over so many years. You've not gone into the market. For your expansion plans, aren't you going to need more money?
Yes, I will need a lot of money because this is a very investment-heavy business, because I'm not an aggregator. So I curate and I buy the product and I sell it in the market.
Sure.
I have my own website which has its own online payment gateway. So anything that I see, I feel that I can introduce it into the market. I bring it into the country and I stock it and then I sell it.
Sure.
It has worked for me because I use various marketing strategies to ensure that I'm out of the debt trap.
Yes.
So that probably...
and margins are good, and they've been consistently good.
Yes, that has always been my primary, objective, that the margins have to be good. Otherwise, there's no point in being in business.
Right, so you haven't chased volumes as much.
Volumes are being built, it's an organic growth, because you see, it's a very niche market that we're addressing.
Sure.
Out of the entire populace, maybe there's only a 10% of the population which can afford to spend.
Right.
And out of the 10%, it's just 3% which is even willing to look at gardening products.
Right.
Okay, so we are addressing that small market. So there is no way in which I can compare my market with, let's say, an FMCG business or a fashion business or an automobile business. That won't work.
Right.
But business is growing. People are walking in, and that's good news for me.
Well, it seems like good news, Myna Batavia, and we can only hope that there will be many more good news in the future as well. For Green Carpet and to you for joining us, many, many thanks.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
And that's, of course, on Rising Stars, Myna Batavia. Thanks very much for making time for watching the show with us, and there'll be many more entrepreneurs in the future. So do keep watching. Keep it with BTVi.